California State Prison-Sacramento, often referred to as New Folsom, on October 4th, 2022, was the site and the date of a vicious attack on a Monte Flores gang member, Felipe Rodriguez. Inmate Rodriguez was attacked by two other inmates, Selso E. Orozco and Mike A. Calderon, at around 2:50 p.m. And although life-saving measures were put into place, sadly, Felipe Rodriguez would pass away at 3:23 p.m.
Welcome inside the California Institute for Men at Chino. This is home to convicted felons, many of whom hail from Orange County. It's an impersonal place, even threatening to the uninitiated, and gang activity is alive, even in this strictly disciplined environment. Normal routine at Chino allows prisoners only 10 hours of outside activity each week. That means working out, baseball, and hours of circling the compound under the watchful eyes of the armed guard in the tower. Indoors, inmates are restricted to cell blocks where two men may live in a room the size of a small bathroom. Contact is reduced to shouts from one cell to another, and meals are served directly to the cell to reduce movement in confined spaces. Chino was built in 1941 to hold about 2,500 men. Nearly 50 years later, it holds 6,000, 2.5 times its intent capacity. The overcrowding leads to unnatural stresses.
Of course, the inmates are strained on the fact that they are housed sometimes in day rooms, card rooms, gymnasiums, open dorm settings.
While prison officials recognize that they have far exceeded the capacity of design, they feel their hands are tied by the courts.
We just start taking them in as the courts present them to us.
This may be an immediate solution for keeping criminals off the street, argue criminologists, but they say it does very little in terms of preparing a convict for his return to society.
And I have a feel for how the victims, the hostility they feel, want to punish them, more prisons and so forth. Not doing very much. I feel that hostility too. I'd like to do something to them, but in terms of what it accomplished for society, is not very much.
Instead, supporters of this philosophy argue that prisons exist strictly for punishment and say that doesn't protect society.
No matter what you do, it's not enough because we want to punish them, so more prisons and so forth. So that's another thing you have to handle in society. What are productive ways to go rather than more and more prisons? We need it for vindictiveness, but in terms of reality, it is not producing the effects we want.
And the Santa Ana police chief agrees that prisons don't work.
It's really a failure, I think. When that's the only recourse you have, then you've failed as a society.
In fact, Paul Walters is willing to send adults to jail, but he says he and his department are now committing much of their combined resource towards keeping people out of the system, beginning when they're teenagers.
What we do is when the first time they get involved is we really support a diversion program. First-time offenders, it's done in Spanish and English. It's called a Short Stop program, and that whole thing is to make them realize what their life's going to be like if they continue.
Short Stop is one of two alternative programs that we'll take a look at in our next report about crime and punishment in Orange County. Peter Murphy, the Orange County...
I believe is racial tension partly induced by the Mexican mafia has also filtered into Southern California high schools, and clearly it starts inside prison walls. Here in maximum security at Chino Penitentiary, notorious prison gang members are housed separately. The Mexican mafia, also called La M in one area, the Black Guerrilla family prison gang in another. Here there is constant racial tension. Tension that often erupts here in the LA County jail system. Latino inmates tell Fox News the word to fight often comes down from the Mexican mafia, a group authorities say controls most of the drug traffic behind bars.
They want to make it a racial thing, you know what I mean? It's like the MS, the raza, you know? We control all inside jail, you know? That's what the MS is all about. That's what they came out and said, you know? We have riots with the blacks.
Jail officials say these tensions have heightened since the LA riots, and the Mexican mafia, using the race issue to show its muscle in the prison system, has even ordered a hit on Crip gangster Damian Football Williams.
Come on, cuz.
Prison officials say La M believes Williams disrespected Latinos during his attacks on motorists here at Florence and Normandy. A series of jailhouse letters sent between a mafia member and Latino gangster and obtained by Fox News discuss plans to put FB out. FB, a reference to Football Williams. Another note says, "I'll do it when I can do a good job."
Why not Damian Williams? He's getting all the center's attention. You know, he's dissing us. Why not?
And this ex-gang member who has spent several years trying to get kids out of gang life says the Mexican mafia for months now has been fanning the flames of racial tension on the streets. At a series of meetings like this one, spreading through 4 LA area counties, La MA operatives have ordered a Latino gang truce, but have also encouraged attacks on black gangs.
The MS said we're going to create a racial war.
This same source, who wants his identity concealed out of fear the MA would kill him for talking, says the mafia master plan is to control drug profits on the street as well as in jail.
Bottom line, how much money they can make, what they can control.
At the same time, Latino and black gangs have been facing off in a growing pattern of racial unrest at area high schools, other non-gang members often joining in. That was the case today as the latest such disturbance broke out at Paramount High School. And law enforcement intelligence obtained by Fox News talks about the MA influence at these recent gang meetings possibly being linked to racially motivated gang clashes at schools in Compton, Inglewood, Culver City, Santa Monica, Venice, Pomona, Ontario, and the Inland Empire. Compton School Police Chief Michael Nunez agrees the mafia theory has a lot of credence.
As far as the animosity, a lot of it between the gangs, the blacks traditionally have been into the gangs as far as selling narcotics. But apparently now it appears that a lot of the Hispanics are getting into that area also, and it's causing a lot of consternation among some of the black gang members. And there is retaliation. There's been some shootings between the blacks and Hispanics.
At the very least, says another Compton police source, Mexican mafia directives at these gang meetings fan the flames of racial violence. Compton School Superintendent Harold Sebrin, who acknowledges there have been 7 high school racial incidents since October, says the school is aware of the problem.
I guess my plea to parents as well as to students that if our schools are going to be safe, if our community is going to be safe, it's going to be because all of us want it to be. And we will stop at nothing to make sure that it is.
Meanwhile, the ex-gang member who talked with us in silhouette throughout these stories says the reason we have to talk about this is to find some solutions. Don't hide it, he pleads. Bring it all out. And wouldn't it be nice, adds Compton School Chief Nunez, if the Mexican mafia itself would now try and stop the violence.
Gang murders may have declined in the city of Los Angeles, but there's still a lot of violence poisoning the larger county area. CNN's Greg Lamont reports.
The 20-year-old is dead. He was pronounced this morning at 4:30, and the other victim, the survivor, was shot in the head.
Just another typical day in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department gang unit. The walls are filled with photos of dead gang members, and there's room for more.
This has been going on since the turn of the century, and the only difference is that the activities have increased to such a degree that it's catastrophic in nature.
Gang-related killings in the city of Los Angeles are down from last year. That's because many of the black gangs continue to honor a truce that was forged during the riots. Such is not the case in the county. Latino and Asian gangs are on a record pace for homicides because the gang population is growing and truce is not in their vocabulary.
People just pass by and they shoot. They shoot, and I guess shooting is fun, you know, but it's not fun. Because, you know, my friends of mine, they've been shot and they've been dead, you know, and that hurts me, you know. So that makes me mad. I want to go up to them and, you know, do what I got to do.
I don't think there'll ever be a truce, not with us anyways.
Why not?
I don't know. Just can't get along with nobody.
Got to keep going. It goes on, never going to stop. It ain't going to die, it's just going to multiply. It's the way it is. Young kids grow up and that's all they know.
There were 771 gang-related killings last year in L.A. County. Those who work with gang members say they just can't envision the killings ever coming to an end.
They don't want to change. They'd rather leave it as is. They want to have the gang warfare, with the other barrios. They don't want to forget what happened between them. They don't want to forget the homicides among them.
Why? Well, it's always been like this,
These youngsters say the shootings must be slowing down because nobody in the neighborhood was killed in the last week. Greg Lamont, CNN, Los Angeles.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Green Lit Gang TV. Much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys so much for checking out the channel today. Man, if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for checking it out. If you like it, I encourage you to go back, check out some of my other content. Welcome. Thank you so much for the support. If you're a returning member, if you are somebody who has continued to watch my videos, like, subscribe, have commented, and you already know what it is. Without you guys, I am nothing. And also, thank you very, very much. Okay, so we're going to be sticking with the same theme that we've done so far in 2025. That is covering the murders, the assaults. Last video was use of lethal force in the CDCR, the absolute mayhem that continues to go on in the CDCR over not just this year, but over the past few years. And this story is another example of that. So this is an article from the CDCR's main page, the main website, from October 4th, 2022, from New Folsom, or California State Prison-Sacramento. Officials are investigating the death of Felipe Rodriguez as a homicide. At approximately 2:50 p.m., two incarcerated men attacked Rodriguez with an inmate-made weapon on a max security general population yard. An ambulance was summoned. However, a paramedic pronounced Rodriguez deceased at 3:23 p.m. The Sacramento County coroner will determine Rodriguez's official cause of death. Correctional officers recovered two inmate-made weapons. The Office of the Inspector General was notified. Felipe Rodriguez received multiple life without parole sentences in separate cases in 2018 and 2019 involving attempted murder, kidnapping, and extortion in L.A. County. He was admitted to prison in 2015, originally from San Bernardino County, for a carjacking conviction. Institution investigators identified two alleged suspects at the time of the attack: Selso E. Orozco Jr. and Mike A. Calderon. Orozco Jr., 41, was admitted from Sonoma County on October 15, 2019, to serve 23 years for first-degree robbery with the use of a firearm, second-degree robbery with the use of a firearm, abusing, endangering the health of a child with an enhancement for use of a firearm, possessing or owning a firearm by a felon or addict. That's the first time I've ever seen the addict enhancements. But we always talk about the enhancements on this page, and this is how they really, really get guys that extra long time. And possession of ammunition by a prohibited person. Calderon, 36, was admitted from L.A. County on December 2nd, 2016, to serve life without parole for first-degree murder and enhancements for the intentional discharge of a firearm, causing great bodily injury or death, and personal use of a dangerous or deadly weapon. Okay, now, I was able to get really good information on Selso Orozco and our victim in this case, Felipe Rodriguez. Not so much on Calderon. Just was not able to find much information, but still, I got really good information on these two guys. I think my channel has stepped up another notch with really diving deeper in some of these guys' personal information, not just talking about the main story itself that the video is about. So, Selso Orozco Jr. Background: he's from Rohnert Park in Sonoma County. This is an article from August 29th, 2019. Defendant Selso Orozco, 38 years old, of Rohnert Park, was sentenced Thursday by the Honorable Peter Ottenweller to 23 years in state prison after having pled no contest in April this year to 4 counts of armed robbery that he committed over a 3-day period in October 2018. Orozco was also convicted of social allegations for his use of a handgun during the commission of these crimes. District Attorney Ravitch would state, this defendant put many lives in danger during the course of violent acts. Thankfully, he was quickly apprehended and brought to justice. This is a breakdown of these robberies. These were pretty crazy. This is over a 3-4 day period. Orozco robbed his first victim at gunpoint during the early evening hours of October 13th, 2018, as the victim was eating dinner in his vehicle in Santa Rosa. Poor guy, he's sitting there eating dinner, and all of a sudden you got a pistol shoved in your face. Orozco aimed his loaded handgun at the victim and demanded the victim's phone and money. The following day, on October 14th, 2018, Orozco robbed a victim at gunpoint after the victim withdrew cash from an ATM machine in Santa Rosa. The victim's wife and daughter watched in shock as the robbery unfolded before their eyes. A few short hours later, Orozco robbed another family of 4 that had just spent an afternoon shopping at the Northgate Mall in San Rafael. As that couple loaded their 2 young children into the car, Orozco approached them and aimed his firearm at the husband and the wife, demanding their phones and their money. Orozco waited a day, so he chills out for a little bit, goes and commits his fourth and final robbery on October 15th, 2018. During that robbery, Orozco targeted a young couple walking on a sidewalk near downtown San Rafael. I guarantee you narcotics were involved. I guarantee you methamphetamines or something was involved when you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not saying Orozco's the guy that needs drugs to go and commit these crimes or whatever, but I guarantee you when I read it like that, that screams to me a drug binge, like a meth-fueled drug binge, and he's getting amped up and he's getting the courage and he's going out and he's doing it. During all 4 robberies, Orozco disguised himself with a mask and was armed with a loaded semi-automatic handgun. The Santa Rosa Police Department was able to identify Orozco through a collaborative investigation with the San Rafael Police Department. SRPD officers arrested Orozco on October 16th, 2018, as he drove away from his residence in Rohnert Park. His loaded gun, mask, and the personal property from his robbery victims were found in the car. Fortunately, Orozco was apprehended by law enforcement for terrorizing additional victims. Now, how he gets those child endangerment charges is because he's robbing family members. He's robbing these mom and dads, but they have their kids right there. So it's like he's robbing the little kids as well, and that's how you get those things tacked on. Those are not good. Those are not good enhancements and extra charges to get tacked on. That's going to get you a lot more time. Okay, now, who I feel like is the main character in this case, Felipe Rodriguez. He's the victim of this attack. He was killed. But man, Felipe Rodriguez was a dangerous gang member. Now, really quick, I got to give credit to a channel that I have watched long before I had my own YouTube channel, and this is Barrio Tales. He does an amazing job. He covers just awesome cases. He does kind of shorter videos, but they're super information packed. Really good. I like how he talks. I like how he speaks. It's no BS. He just jumps right into it. His page is where I got a lot of good information on Felipe Rodriguez. So I want to make sure I give a shout out to him, give him his credit. And any of you that like my channel, you will absolutely love his channel. Remember, that is Barrio Tales on YouTube. Okay, Felipe Rodriguez, El Monte Flores gang member. This is back in April 2016, and this kind of story is going to break down how he ended up picking up all these terroristic, extortion, kidnapping, all these charges, excuse me, and ends up getting basically life without parole. April 2016, he is placed in a cell with Rigoberto Sandoval. These two guys meet, they're okay. Rigoberto Sandoval is a member of the Sandra gang, and an inmate by the name of Joel also gets placed in there. Now, poor Joel, when pressed, he has to admit, I got an SA charge. That is not good, especially when you're around people like Felipe Rodriguez. Joel, of course, goes, no, but I'm innocent, right? I'm innocent. No, it's BS. I'm taking it to the box. I'm taking it to trial. It's not true. Well, Felipe Rodriguez isn't just going to take his word for it. He says, all right, prove it. Get somebody on the line that can vouch for you. So Joel starts trying. He can't do it. And a beating ends up happening. Felipe Rodriguez, Rigoberto Sandoval beat him for 5 to 8 minutes to the point where Rigoberto Sandoval gets tired. Felipe says, nope, don't stop, keep going. And Felipe Rodriguez was the leader of all this and the stuff you're going to hear about in just a second. Right? He is leading all of this. Felipe joins in, starts punching Joel, starts attacking him, and basically says, hey man, you better keep trying. You better keep trying to get someone on the line that can vouch for you. Pretty soon, it's not just enough to do that. Okay, pretty soon it's not just enough to, hey, prove your innocence. We want money. You better get somebody on the line, a family, a friend that's going to give us phone time. And right around this time, a guard comes by, doesn't stop it, he doesn't exactly know what's going on. A 4th inmate gets placed in that cell. All right, and that guy's name was Gennaro Gutierrez, who walks in, and he's also a Florencia 13 member. These guys are Sureno gang members. And the beatings ensue. Now you've got 3 guys attacking this guy, Joel, who has an SA charge. Basically, he's got a death wish. And he's trying to get money. He finally gets a hold of his sister, who does $50 worth of phone time. She does it another time. So now twice, he's able to get $50 of phone time on. Felipe Rodriguez, not satisfied. He goes, I want more money. I want like $200 this time. Joel's trying. He can't do it. He's getting beat up throughout the process. And in a really, really cold line when Joel basically says, hey, Felipe, I'm going to court in a couple weeks and I'll be able to get you some money then. Felipe looks at him and says, we got a couple weeks to have fun with you then. You can just imagine the fear, the kind of cold chill, I'm sure, that ran through Joel, not knowing if he's going to make it out alive or not. Now, some would say he deserves it. I would agree with you. He probably deserves what he's got coming over the next however many days. And it gets worse. So, he's calling. He's trying to get money. He's calling. He's trying to prove innocence. Nobody can vouch for him. To be honest with you, I don't think anything would have satisfied Felipe. I think no matter what, he was going to absolutely punish and torture Joel and have the help with Rigoberto Sandoval and Gennaro Gutierrez. So, one day, Felipe Rodriguez wakes up Joel by punching him, and he cuts him from the razor towards the top of his ear, down towards his jawline. Yells at him, hey, clean up the blood off your face. Get off the bunk, get cleaned up. Joel hops down from the bunk. Felipe starts punching him again. Tries to choke him with the towel, and he starts bashing his head against the sink over and over. A guard finally walks by, says, okay, enough, gets Joel out of the cell, sends him to the hospital. When they finally realize just how bad everything is and how all this has been going on, all three men are charged with kidnapping for ransom, extortion, aggravated mayhem with gang enhancements, because they're also no gang members. Felipe ends up getting found guilty, and in May 29th, 2017, he's sentenced to life without parole on all charges. He also gets another life sentence in 2018 for discharge of a firearm. He's racked up so many charges, he basically gets life. He's got so many felonies, everything just gets piled on top of each other. He is done. And then, like we've talked about in the last few videos, it never ceases to amaze me how everything kind of comes back around, especially in the California prison system, especially on these max security level 4, level 3 yards. Eventually, man, you're living this life, and it's going to be your turn. Eventually, you're going to fall out of favor with your gang. Eventually, you're going to fall out of favor with the people around you, and you're going to get caught slipping one time when you least expect it, and it's done. Or the numbers aren't going to be your favor, and it's going to be 2-on-1, and they're going to have weapons, and you're not going to make it out alive. These gang members know how to attack. They know where to stab you. They know how to make weapons out of almost anything. So, yeah, again, there's another example, another story. Again, guys, thank you so much. Now, sometimes I mention this in the first part. I'm going to mention this towards the end. If you are struggling, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, mental health, reach out, get the help. I've mentioned it in other videos. I celebrated 5 years of sobriety on March 10th of this year. I love seeing the comments of people down below when they mention how long they had. I saw one the other day. Someone celebrated 4 years. Congratulations. People do not sometimes, if you haven't struggled with drugs or alcohol, if you haven't struggled with addiction, I don't think people can understand just how hard it is to get cleaned up, to get your family back, to get your life back, to get the person back that maybe at one time you did love. Reach out, guys. Get the help. Comment down below. I love hearing it. I really try hard to respond to every comment. I think I have. I actually think there's not one comment on any of my videos that I have not responded to. So, again, thank you guys for the support. It means everything. Just wanted to mention that. I really try to mention that in every single video. It's never too late. One day at a time truly does work. There is help out there. Until next time, peace.